Good afternoon, everybody. I'm House Republican Leader Tony McCombie from the 89th District in Northwest Illinois. We're here today to talk about the lawsuit that I filed with the Illinois Supreme Court to fight for fair legislative maps here in Illinois. We have declared that the current map is unconstitutional and asked for a special master to draft a redistricting plan that complies with the Illinois Constitution. While it's officially filed on January 28th, we are happy to announce that things are moving forward. Last Friday, we filed a brief with the Supreme Court to justify the timeliness of the lawsuit. We are pleased that the action is has taken place because we believe this is not just a Republican issue, but it's an issue that is going to benefit all voters to put the choice back in their hands, not the other way around. We can't argue against Illinois voters here. We must continue to do what is fair, and that is to earn back the public trust in government. We are hopeful that our case will continue forward, and in the next few weeks, we'll be back here with another update for you. Right now, I'd like to go ahead and introduce Assistant Leader Dan Ugasti, who is going to go in a little bit more detail as he's the attorney here.
Thank you, Leader McCombie. Well, good, bad, or indifferent, I am the attorney in the room, so I'll talk a little bit about this. I'm State Representative Dan Ugasti from the 65th District. As Leader McCombie stated, we addressed the issue of timeliness, and we did so because the court sent out an order asking both the plaintiffs in the case, which Leader McCombie is the lead plaintiff, as well as the defendants, the State Board of Education, to address the timeliness of the matter and whether or not there's an issue there. We have filed our initial brief, and it addressed basically three things. The court asked about whether or not it's timely, and we said, well, clearly, first of all, we're within the statute of limitations. Now, if you look at these sections of the Constitution that we cite as violations, there's nothing indicating that there's a certain time in which it must be filed. So then you go look at the Illinois Code of Civil Procedure, and there's a 5-year catch-all for that. And there's two different ways of looking at that. You can look at the last election as being the last violation, because that's when these maps came into play and determined the outcome of the General Assembly, as being the last time we had a violation of the Constitution. And that would put the date in November of 2024, and of course we're within the 5-year statute of limitations. Or you can even look at when the map was enacted back in 2021, and whether or not we are within that time frame. And if you look at the 2021 time frame, when the map officially became official after the federal court ruled it was legal, then we're still within that 5-year time frame. So it should be considered by the court. But one other issue to look at is an old common law doctrine that deals with a leader such as Leader McCombie, who is a constitutional officer, addressing a public concern, because she's not suing on her behalf. She is suing on behalf of all the voters of the state of Illinois that are having their right to free and equal elections taken away from them by this very map. And because of that, there would be no statute of limitations or timeliness question. It would be solely that we get to proceed forward on this issue. So looking at all that, and also considering a Supreme Court case, Davis versus Bandimer, I may be getting it wrong, the plurality in that case basically said, this is the U.S. Supreme Court now, that you should have 2 election cycles to look at to make sure there's actually a harm being done. Well, that's exactly what we did. We had the 2022 election in which this map was relevant. We had the 2024 election in which this map was relevant. And now we filed in early 2025, just as soon as we could after that election. You know, part of the reason we need to keep this in front of people is because this is important to the residents of the state of Illinois. We are under one-party control, Democrat control, because of constitutional violations. Our voters' rights are being violated by these very maps. And we don't just point to 1 or 2 instances. Our expert lists 52 different instances. And unfortunately, people in this state oftentimes when I'm talking to them in my district, or I hear from people in other districts, think that all hope is lost in this state. Nothing can be changed. The Democrats control the state. This is the way it is. These are the policies they're putting forward, and there's nothing that can be done about it. And unfortunately, that is why I hear many people are leaving the state of Illinois. Many businesses are done in the state of Illinois, which affects all of us who stay here. We need to be growing this state. We can't watch it continue to go down. We are taking this sign from the Supreme Court that they wanted to hear about timeliness, because we know we have solid arguments on it, as being a positive sign. We are not in a helpless situation. The people of the state of Illinois can have hope. These maps aren't permanent. The Supreme Court can invalidate them, ask a special master or order a special master to draw constitutionally valid maps, and we can move forward to a brighter day in Illinois. I'm going to let Leader Spain, who's our deputy leader, address a few more issues.
Well, thank you, Leader Ugasti. My name is Ryan Spain, State Representative from the 73rd District. I live in Peoria. This is a big deal, and we've come before you to talk about redistricting many times, but we promise we will continue to do so when big things are happening. And today's announcement is that big things are happening on this case in the state of Illinois. It is a big deal that the Illinois Supreme Court has set a briefing schedule to hear from us and hear from the defendants in this case about why this issue is timely. And as we've shown in your packet, in our response brief, in the slide summary that you have, this is a very, very timely issue. And I would point out, redistricting issues continue throughout the country. Even as of this moment, Illinois is not alone and not unique as a state that is still litigating and considering impacts from the redistricting decisions that happened in 2021. And so what we've learned now is that our case is even strengthened further by having 2 election cycles underway that we can point to with incredible data that comes from them. First of all, we've said this before, in the 2022 election, Republican candidates for the Illinois House won a majority of the statewide vote. And what did that get us? 1/3 of the legislature. 1/3, with Democrats taking a 2/3 artificial supermajority that was delivered only through gerrymandering. That's not fair. And in fact, it's illegal. It violates the Illinois Constitution. Same thing happened in 2024 with a disproportionate share of the vote not being reflected in reality with the composition of the legislature. So we're excited. We are really encouraged by the court setting this briefing schedule and asking for more information. For all of us, it shows that our Illinois Supreme Court understands the gravity of constitutional rights. And when voters throughout the state are being systematically disenfranchised and election outcomes are being predetermined by politicians, that is wrong. So we're excited for where we go forward next. Remember, we've had 2 elections under this map. We have 3 to go before we come to another census and another redistricting activity after 2030. So this is very much a timely issue that is still relevant and affects everything going forward for the state of Illinois. You know, we sort of get the government we deserve and really the government that we design. And in our state, we have designed government outcomes to produce extreme results, extreme partisanship, extreme majorities that don't reflect reality. And what we've done is de-emphasized the importance of bipartisan cooperation. That's what we need to get back to. That's why we filed this lawsuit. Even if it does nothing to change one seat, the partisan control of the legislature, we can change the way the Illinois General Assembly works because it will be more responsive to the people of the state of Illinois and actually begin to tackle the problems, the challenges that are facing our state. So we appreciate your attention on this issue. We want the public to know about this. You know, this is a little bit in the weeds, following Illinois Supreme Court briefing schedule with a bunch of data points and compactness measurements and things like that. But the bottom line is the people of the state of Illinois need to know, as Leader Ugasti said, that there's hope, that there's a way to do things different, and that if we care about the way our government functions, we have a chance through the Illinois Supreme Court to right some serious wrongs and get back on track for a better future for the state.
Leader
Any
Spain,
questions?